You're very welcome back to the show. Now, this weekend, of course, we're going to see thousands of people across the nation wave their flags of a parade, of course, to celebrate our patron saint.
But where did it all begin? Here to tell us all, we have folklorist Shane Lahan. Shane, we're chatting about parades, celebrations, symbols, everything today.
Do you know, we've gone all over the world, Dahi.
Yeah.
The earliest account I found of a parade went back as far as 1601. Would you believe that? A place called San Agustin in Florida, a Spanish colony, and right in the middle of it all, there was an Irish priest, Richard Arthur. And 17th of March, didn't he lead them out on a bit of a parade up and down, and they fired off the cannons, and they had to get extra ammunition in because they were celebrating that, you know. So,
and I suppose we brought it with us, didn't we?
Oh, we did. We brought all that. But you'd be surprised who brought it in, because we have a sense of Irishness that's different. Boston was 1737. Who brought that? Were the Northern Protestants, okay? And they brought that over there. They're very proud of their Ulster heritage. St. Patrick being from Ulster, that was their demonstration. That has links to being the earliest in North America that way. 1762, New York. Anyone Irish serving in the British Army at the time, to show their identity, they did their marching as well, and that would be the origin of the New York parade as well. Yeah. So, and then, believe it or not, in Boston itself, on Patrick's Day, 1776, when George Washington had them all under siege, the army, the British Army as it were, marched out with a bit of pride in them, and there was Irish amongst that, and there was probably another famous parade on the day itself.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Very, very interesting. Because when you look at St. Patrick, he goes on both sides of the river, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But in Ireland, it's actually very, very interesting too. One of the great guys we have is Father Matthew, of course, the Teetotal Abstinence Association. They, on Patrick's Day, of course, which was a holy day of obligation, you must remember, they'd meet in the church and they do a little bit of a parade as well. That was probably the first parade. But the man we can thank for Patrick's Day, as we think of it today, is a man called James O'Mara, a Limerick man. He was an MP, but he was also one of the first members of Dáil Éireann, believe it or not. But came in, the 1903 was the Act for the Bank Holidays, and he declared St. Patrick's Day, the 17th of March, to be the bank holiday.
That's why we're off.
And that's when the parade started in Ireland. Conran na Gaeilge, the Gaelic League, Douglas the Hida, all of that was a celebration of being Irish.
And that's when the parade started here, Shane.
That's when they started here. But to be honest, the parades that you and I know today, that we think about today, really didn't come into the 1950s. The kind of American-style parade that we all went to. You know, we were all dressed up. We put on all our Sunday best. We had our Patrick's Day badges. We all went out to watch everything, you know. Yeah. And you know what?
This is the 60s now, I think we're looking at.
We were full of excitement. Like, there was guys on tricycles. Like, that was as good as it got, really, you know.
But where else would you come across something like this that time, Shane?
But you know what? It was the new Ireland, Dahi. It was Ireland emerging. There were the lorries, you know, the big tractors. There was big agricultural things, fire engines, buses. All
it was a showing off of what we had.
Of the new Ireland, you know. But I always remember, and I think it's very funny, really, like you'd have the FCA, and you might have then folled by St. John's Ambulance, Boy Scouts, you'd have the local band or whatever. But we loved one year, I remember, my father was big into the parades, you know, he used to do lots of the floats. We went down to see the majorettes, and there was a group of American majorettes arrived over anyway. God, we never saw legs like it. or the perfect, you know, the JFK teeth that time, you know. And they could throw up the batons, you know, and everything. Well, there was a flurry of young fellas following them along, and the poor Legion of Mary coming behind them. They didn't get a look in, you know.
Small guts for the Legion of Mary after that.
No, but you know, so you had a bit of kit, you had a bit of everything going on in the parade, and like we loved it. We it's a part of it, and it still is today. The kids love it. You know, it's usually raining. It's never. But what I loved as well, there was a bit of embarrassment. The parade would be moving on, then there'd be a stoppage. There'd be some crowd, and the crowd would be dancing on their feet for a certain length of time, and you know, steam engines, everything you could imagine.
It's really
so that was the new Ireland.
I just always have memory of the parade of the rain. Tick, freezing to death on the back of a tractor, wearing a skirt made of, you know, crepe paper.
Playing Roddy McCurley.
Roddy McCurley on my recorder like this. I could hardly move. My hands were just stiff with the cold on the recorder.
One time, you know, we were big into CND back in the 70s and in the 80s when I was in school, you know, campaign for nuclear disarmament. I got dressed up one time in all the flares, the shirt, my father's tie around my head. My mother said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going out to the parade for the campaign for nuclear disarmament." She said, "Go upstairs." She dressed me up in my best clothes, you know, and what she did, she gave me my father's Crombie. And I went in, but sure enough, didn't someone give me a Russian hat? And wasn't I Brezhnev then? I was, and they were all booing me then. So there was always a bit of pageantry that we involved ourselves
right,
in.
it's
Like, do you know what I really like is the local parades. Now, we can't talk about some of the floats we see in them because for certain reasons, but like they're always of the time.
Oh yeah.
You're
So,
right.
some things that are happening in the news, even that week, they can turn up in a local float. And you know what,
in humorous ways.
in a humorous way,
right,
with no names attached or
A
anything.
bit of mockery, you rang on, and that was the carnival we've often spoken about before. That ability to mock what was going on at the time, and people will remember that far better than anything else. You know.
The one thing we all had was a broth, just like you have there. Remind us of the flag, Shane, beside you there, and the colours, of course, where it all came from.
Yeah, listen, the flag is quite amazing because, you know, this is the flag you and I live by today. This is the one I have the pride in, you have the pride in. There's a story behind this flag, and we but this wasn't actually the original Irish flag at all. Believe it or not, our old flag started off with right back to the time the United Irishmen, starting off in 1798, Wolfhounds and Nappertandy and all the gang. They had a blue flag with with a harp right in the middle of it. And over time, then we'll say, going into the Young Irelanders in and around the mid-19th century, what you had then is, of course, they put the background was green, but they still had this, what we call the winged maiden flag. Sometimes the crown was over it, but they took off the crown, obviously enough, when there was rebelliousness going on and so on. So our flags were very, very different. But the story of the tricolour, the story of this flag is a gorgeous story, because it all goes back to one individual, always. I remember Thomas Francis Meagher. I'm just getting the dates here, exactly 1848. There were a number of revolutions around Europe at that point in time. Most of them failed. The French one didn't. And these young Islanders went over to sympathise with the French. The women who were there at the time made them the first tricolour, based on the French colour, you know, the blue, the white and the red. The Irish tricolour was first made in silk, presented. He went back to Waterford, he hung it up over the Wolftown building that was there, and that became our flag then. That became, and later...
Why the colours though, I wonder?
Well, the colours were there because it was to bring the green, the nationalist green, the rebellious green, and the orange. And the white in between, of course, was to say that, you know, we should live together, that there's a bit of peace, that there's unity between us. We're all combined under the one. And that was the great aspirations of the time, and still is, I believe, today.
But it's amazing, say, some people from the Irish tradition wouldn't see that as it is. As it's supposed to.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that there was often people say, when I was young, we'd say, oh, the flag is green, white and gold.
That's what we always said when
But you know what? It's not. It's green, white and orange. And if you look up the official Taoiseach's office and the registration to the government, it's absolutely orange. It's not green, white and yellow.
I don't know why it was always said like that, and it was green,
I know,
white, and
But I think gold almost elevated into something great, because we are a small
orange
nation.
is kind of like gold, really. Maybe they didn't mean it any different.
And we're a very proud nation. And I think what I love now is the ownership of the flag. I like the way...
And the white of the peace as well. The white, you know, piece between
it's a huge symbol, and you know,
sides.
I don't look back so much, Maura, right? I'm looking forward. I look at the way the flag is used today. I love the way that our great athletes, whether it's our boxers, whether it's our equestrian team, whether it's our swimmers, whether it's the lads, the boys, here we are, the rowers down in Skibbereen, you know, the O'Donovans and McCarthy and so on. And if they're all using the flag as something to look forward to, and I want to think about it that way. I think we've since our centenary of 1916, we've certainly looked back, we've looked at where we've come from, but it's time, I think, to look forward and to use our flag in the most. So hopefully now, let's say if Bambi Tug wins the Eurovision or whatever, that the Irish flag will be out there and we'll be able to
the next
celebrate
kind
that.
of the future. You're right.
I think we need to push it on.
Is it fair to say, Shane, that you should never write anything on the flag? You should never put the flag on the ground. There are a few rules with the flag.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, the flag must always be in the centre flagpole that's there. It must never touch the ground, you know. It should be taken down at night. There's a protocol for when somebody passes away.
At half
like,
mast.
like you think about it, I was thinking a lot about flags, obviously enough. You think about it, the flag is very meaningful. It's very significant. It might be just colours, it might be just a bit of material, but people died for flags, you know? And it represents our values, who we are. So you treat that flag, you know, with respect. Think about all the trouble in the world today. It's all about ownership of territory and so on. So we need to think about and respect that. And we're a small nation, and we've got our pride in our flag. But let's bring it on. Let's not keep looking back. And that's what I think.
And everyone will be. I mean, we will be waving flags all over the country. Whether it's our generation or the kids, whatever, we'll be doing. tell us about wolfhounds and the whole
Yeah, listen,
association.
when I was going to school, I loved it, you know. With in my copybooks, this isn't my copybook. This is a great one I got from the Butter Museum, the Irish Free State butter, and what is up there is the Irish wolfhound, you know. But there used to be wolfhounds, there used to be round towers, there used to be
Coofield, Coofield.
Coofield.
Yeah, that's the Irish wolfhound. Because we were thinking Mock Cheetah is the Irish for
A
wolf.
wolf, yeah. A coo's a hound.
Yeah,
But what I love about it is we have a great tradition of dogs in Ireland, first of all. It goes right back into our archaeology, into the Mesolithic period, Mount Sandal, comes right up and so on. But you remember as well that Irish people, we had wolves in this country. They were our predators. They were coming after, they were killing our domestic animals.
Yeah.
These dogs were reared specially to guard against the wolf attacks. But of course, the wolves over time got wiped out completely. I think the last one became extinct in 1786 in Carlow, for example. So, and the breed, there was no longer a need for the wolfhound, and it fell then to a wonderful captain in the British Army, George Augustus Graham. What did he go along and do? He took a number of breeds of dogs, the deerhound, the Great Dane, Russian dogs, Tibetan dogs. He pieced them all together. And what did he do? He created the Irish wolfhound as we know him today.
Shane, could you give it us in 15 seconds about the harp being the national symbol? We've only 15 seconds.
I'll just say, listen, somebody played the harp for me the other day, and this way I'll answer it. I was transfixed. I went back to the ancestors. Beautiful young girl, Lucy Teep, she played the harp. It literally pulled my heartstrings.
So it's just goes back in time.
It is the ultimate symbol of Ireland. There's no doubt about it.
Shane Gurmagot, agus
Oh,
in
it's
the
a
féile
pleasure.
fód.
Absolutely.
That's what made Donach Magot.
Okay, Margaret.
Like speak less association, not be Ernest Brezhnev, be somebody else.
No, without a wolfhound maybe.
Better, Coofield. Okay.
Coofield.
That's it. Now coming up, we have Limerick's leading